Thanks for tuning in to tonight's edition of the Renshaw Report. Murray the Eye, reporting from the city too tough to die in New London. And my special guest tonight, I'm honored to have him, Zak Leavy, the assistant to the mayor, who has been very active from the beginning of this election and is very active now. He's a strong supporter of the mayor. I would say, quite frankly, that of the decisions that the mayor has made, not many of which that I agree with, hiring Zak was his best decision. He's punctual, he gets back to you. If you have a question, he does answer you right away. And Zak, thanks for coming on the show. And let's get right to it because there are many issues to discuss tonight. New London is a city in turmoil. And I know you support the mayor. I don't think many of its decisions to date have been to the benefit of the citizens of New London or the town of New London. Let's start with the fireman issue, which has been kicked around in the newspapers for quite some time. Announcement was made today, rehire him. We've hired him, we fired him, we've rehired him. What do you have to say about that issue?
Oh, well, first I'd like to say thank you for letting me be on here, and it's kind of weird, just an honor. But the fireman issue. First off, the mayor did not hire him in the first place. That was the decision of Bernadette Welch and the former personnel coordinator and Chief Samuel. But the issue with firing came from information from the fire academy that he received. He also went off of issues with his driving record that he was told would be a issue and is one of the essential qualifiers for becoming a firefighter. With the information that he received from the fire academy and the driving record and the driver's license, he decided to terminate him. When issues came up, he decided, no, we should look at rehiring again. Looked into it, still was heard that the driver's license was still an issue. Decided to end the negotiations there. He talked to the law department and our insurance lawyer, who said that, no, the driver's license is okay. You can't just hold that against him. Mayor said, all right, based on this new information, he offered him out to hire him. And I don't believe anything's been formally signed, but I think he actually announced at the 5 o'clock press conference today that he will be accepting the position. And
the taxpayers are on the hook for his legal expenses and his back pay?
The back pay, it was budgeted for by the fire chief. He checked with the fire chief to say, no, is this budgeted for, is this count as one of the vacancies you're leaving open to save money? Chief Samuel said no. So they're just giving him the salary he would have gotten in the that was already budgeted for, and there's $10,000 in the legal department to cover settlement fees.
So the mayor made a decision based on erroneous, tainted information without checking that information out. Is that a correct statement?
No, I believe he went through and talked to the professional staff. He consulted with many people. It took about 2 weeks before he made the decision to finally fire him. He went off the information from the academy that was given to the chief, talked to the chief, talked to Bernadette, talked to the public safety committee chair, Wade Heislip, talked to Jane Glover, the CAO, and after the numerous discussions, they decided to fire him. Based on the information that they had. However, I believe that part of being a leader is when you get new information, you're allowed to adapt your position and change accordingly.
Let's move to the deputy police chief's situation. The mayor once again hired the deputy chief or filled a position that was unfunded. He did that once before. The city council gave in to him with respect, out of respect to the people that he hired, even though there wasn't money, and the council funded it. The mayor turns around, does the same thing, and hires a deputy police chief, only to find out afterwards that the person that was hired, as the headline in the day paper stated, the new deputy police chief has made a lot of headlines, and most of them are not becoming. Was this guy the guy for the job, number one? And after the fact, we do a background check after we announce that we're hiring him. Is that out of sequence, or am I missing something?
I will say first off, the article you're referencing right there is from David Collins, which is an opinion piece, not a reporting piece. It's David Collins' opinion. Second of all, he was the highest recommended candidate from the Chiefs Association. He came recommended from New Haven. He did have issues with the police chief in New Haven as well, with the union there. And when they told him, these are the issues, he retired. And, the handing in your gun and badge, that's standard practice. We did that with Deputy Chief Seeger when his contract was not renewed. We did that with all the officers that have resigned or left. It's just standard policy. And it is actually not a unfunded position. There's a lot of confusion saying, are we paying for Deputy Chief Seeger as well as Peter Riker? No. There is money in the budget. The chief has outlined how she would pay for that by leaving vacancies, and it is a funded position.
But we're paying Deputy Chief Seeger a year's salary for doing nothing. And the consensus of many of the people that I speak with, and I happen to kind of agree with them, I don't think we should spend any more money. This is all taxpayer money. I don't think we should spend any more money for a position we had a chief, but we still don't know why they wanted to get rid of Seeger, or why the mayor wanted to get rid of Seeger. It's certainly an expensive termination.
It was not a termination. It was a non-contract renewal, and it was part of the ongoing police restructuring that the mayor and the chief have undertaken. And the mayor tried to give to the council money that he had, basically free money from a previous budget for capital projects. He tried to transfer that over to cover all legal expenses for the retirement agreements, and put the rest, whatever's left over, into the fund balance. Council decided not to do that, and that's fine. We're still looking for, we're still hoping that a positive outcome will come with the retirement agreements, but it's just, it was part of the restructuring that's why Deputy Chief
In
Seeger was
addition
gone.
to the deputy chief, there's still great turmoil, question, and innuendo as to what's happening with the chief of police. Last night, as the papers reported, whatever that commission is, they have requested an investigation because of the allegations of the emails that were sent by the chief to people in the community. What's your thought on that? I mean, the police department is in turmoil, Zach. The mayor has continually supported her time and time again, and doesn't something have to be done, and doesn't this have to come to a head sooner rather than later?
In any transition, in any restructuring, there will be confusion and there will be turmoil. The committee meeting, I believe, was last night, or was it 2 nights ago? I believe it was Tuesday night. As the Police Community Relations Committee, I'm actually the liaison to that. I've read the email. In the email from a private computer, Chief Ackley's private email to another private citizen, she voices her concerns with the committee that they wanted to do it behind closed doors in executive session, not allow the civilians to hear their complaint the way that they would like it, the way that they wanted it to be done was to just go into executive session, talk about it, come out, tell the civilian, oh, it's adequate or inadequate. The chief, in her commitment to civil rights, which is unwavering, said, no, this is not the way it should be done. We need to show the civilians that their case is being heard as just as if anyone else's, that they're getting no different treatment than anyone else would get. And in the email, it actually talks about keeping the committee alive because they wanted to abolish it to make it a commission. A subcommittee had been created and said that a commission wouldn't work. So if they had abolished it, there's a good chance it would not have come back as a commission. And there would have been no police community relations. It just would have been nothing. The chief in the email commits to civil rights that allows civilians to see that their cases are being heard fairly and investigated, and it allows the committee to continue existing because there's a very good chance it would not have come back in a commission form.
Let's get to the lawsuit between the Todd Lynch issue and the chief. I'm told there are 168 emails that are attached to the lawsuit. Where do we stand with that, and how do you see that processing, and what's the mayor's position on the issue?
We don't comment on pending litigation. That's a standard policy. However, the mayor has said multiple times, no one is above the law. That includes the chief of police.
Chief Ackley reported in the day, if it's accurate, that she did not support the firing of Chip Seeger, that it had to be the mayor that got rid of him. Why didn't he like Seeger, and what was the reason for that termination, if in fact the chief supported him?
He didn't believe that Deputy Chief Seeger shared in the same policies of community policing, which is a direction that the police department is moving, and just chose not to renew his contract. It was just an administrative policy decision based on how they want the police department to run.
Zach, we got some calls. Would you mind if we went to the phones?
No, of course.
And I would ask to remind our callers to be respectful. We don't want to kill the messenger here because we want him to come back. And one other thing I wanted to mention, someplace on the Scope magazine, there's an interview that Zach did with the Scope people, whoever they are, that is excellent, and I would recommend anyone and everyone to watch that. I don't know how you would get to just look up Scope or something.
It's thescopemagazine.com. The interviewer that did it was Ann Thomas. It was filmed by Andrew Proctor, who's a local filmmaker in the town. And on it, I believe there's just a section for interviews. So you have mine. There's the 5-part interview with Kathleen Mitchell, as well as an interview with the mayor.
They did a tremendous job, and we're going to go to the phones. And we're not here to argue with them. If you got questions, let's get the questions answered, and we'll move on from there. Thank you for calling. You're live.
Good evening, Mr. Leavy.
Good evening.
Levy.
I have a few questions for you. Number one is you made a very inaccurate statement a few minutes ago by saying that you're going to pay Deputy Chief Seeger's salary out of capital improvement funds. Capital improvement funds are not intended to pay people's salaries. They're intended to make improvements within the department and to purchase new equipment and educate officers or firefighters, whoever it might be. So if you're doing that, you're taking that capital improvement money, you're not spending it the right way. Number two, Chief Sammo had nothing to do with the hiring of Mayo, and you and I both know that. It's not his responsibility to hire or fire. He can recommend a firing, but I don't believe in the hiring process he was ever involved in that at all, except to get the reports from the fire academy that subsequently led to the discharge, rehire of firefighter Mayo. Thirdly, it's been rumored around that the mayor intends to condemn fire headquarters on Bank Street. I'd like an answer for that. And to lay off 10 people. Is there any truth to that rumor? And secondly, July 1st, I understand that Bernadette Welch, the personnel director's contract, will not be renewed. Can you comment on those, please?
I'm going to disconnect you and let Zach respond, and I thank you for the call. Excellent questions, by the way.
Absolutely. The capital improvements money that was sought from the mayor to give to the council was just to try to clean up the remaining issues in the transition. In parts of Chief Sammo not having anything to do with the hiring, under a city manager form of government, he's a department head, him and Bernadette Welch decided to hire Alfred Mayo. That's just how it happened. We can agree to disagree, and that's just completely understandable. The other question about the fire headquarters and the layoffs. Talked to the mayor actually about it today. He said that he found documentation and got information that closing the fire headquarters would not lead to significant savings, and he's looking into other options. In terms of the 10 layoffs, they're doing everything they can to avoid layoffs in any public safety department. They're looking at everything down to cleaning supplies to try to save a nickel and dime. And to Bernadette Welch, that is accurate. July 1st, she will not be renewed. She's retiring. It was a consolidation between the personnel department and the mayor's office. The personnel department is a division of the mayor's office, and they consolidated the two departments together. And Bernadette, being a great, she is a great public servant, and she has done years of quality work for this city, decided to retire at that time.
That's debatable. Let's take another call. Thanks for calling. You live. with Zak Leavy. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, good show. Thank you, Zach. Great show tonight. One thing is that the Police Community Relations Board cannot make the decision whether to disband or not. That's under the City Council's purview. And there's many things that I agree with the mayor, and there's a few that I don't. But I think that he really needs to cut the strings with the chief. She has not been forthcoming as far as past behavior and current behavior. And I think that letter, I don't care whether it's a personal computer or not, she's a department head, and it went beyond giving an opinion. She actually, wanted action to be taken at this committee meeting, whether to intimidate, manipulate, board members who volunteer. And it's the city council's job, since they're in charge of most of the boards and agencies, to at least receive the complaint and then get advice from the law director. Because it's very hard, as you know, to fill these boards and agencies, and if you have people trying to undermine what they're doing, and this is a department head, so I don't think I disagree there. And my other thing is, oh goodness, so much was said. Bernadette Welsh. Now, I had heard she unilaterally switched herself from the 401A program over to the pension in the last couple of months. When asked, she said she did it 6 months ago. I don't believe her. And the personnel board, who again, this is a makeup of volunteers, I hope that they look into that, because the one thing that did come clear through this budget mess is that these fringe benefits, if you want to call them, and the matches 9.5% when most companies are matching 3%, medical, all these benefits really need to be re-looked at because the taxpayers can't afford it. And I do hope they look into whether she just switched herself over to the pension, because she has no right, she's not in the union, and she should be in a 401A program. Marie, I've talked enough, but great show. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, and I'd be interested in your response, Zach, to that. Did she do that, in fact, and she's feathering her own retirement package at the expense of the taxpayers? And
I believe, as she said, that Bernadette said she did it.
She did it in the 2 months or 6 months ago?
I believe it was 6 months. I believe, that's
so
what she said.
She has prepared herself for a sweet retirement at our expense and is getting 2 bites out of the apple.
I think that's a fairly big jump to think that 6 months ago she knew that a consolidation between the mayor's office and personnel was coming. I think that she would have to be some sort of, have some sort of skill that the rest of us didn't see to look 6 months into the future.
More importantly, Zach, the city of New London pays these people like they're rock stars. We've got to come to grips with the facts that they're wonderful contracts, but the fact of the matter is the taxpayers can't afford it any longer. Some of the salaries that are being paid are obscene, and what makes these people so valuable that the mayor has assigned huge salaries, and you're not one of them, by the way. Quite frankly, the only one in that whole crew that deserves $80,000 is Gail McKissick. But the fact of the matter is, there are huge salaries being paid out there. What makes these people worth this? They're glorified clerks, really.
I think glorified clerk should be a fairly inaccurate statement for what everyone does that is in city service.
Well, maybe we don't know what they do, and that's what the problem is.
That's fine. And you talk about salaries in city government. The problem with salaries in the city budget is in the school administration. We have a superintendent of schools, who is making $151,000, an assistant superintendent of schools making $141,000, every principal makes $122,000.
Plus benefits,
Plus
I want to
benefits.
add.
We have every principal in the school making $122,000. There are several people in the central office making over $100,000. The mayor only makes $86,000. The superintendent of schools and the assistant superintendent of schools both make more than the mayor does
And who
himself.
sets those salaries? Aren't they negotiated through Bernadette Welsh?
They had their own finance department and human resource department.
Well, obviously, they're not working in the best interest of the taxpayers.
No, they're not, and that's been one of the issues that the mayor has spoken about multiple times, is that, everyone talks about the excessive salaries in the city government. And
Do you agree that they're excessive?
I agree that the school administration has excessive salaries.
Just the school?
I believe $151,000 for a superintendent of schools is excessive.
Thank you for calling your live with Zach.
Hey, Murray, thanks for taking my call tonight. I do want to sometimes have you get back to me on that city pier.
I'm going to let Zach respond to that as we speak, because I went down there myself, and the question is about the city pier.
The
Zach,
railings.
and this caller is concerned with the safety at the pier. Would you explain to him what's going on?
Absolutely. The project is not yet completed. Obviously, it is a safety issue. We want to make sure that everyone is able to enjoy the city pier and the great waterfront that we have here without any danger of falling or getting hurt and possibly drowning. It is an issue that's being looked into about getting railings up that would provide better safety on the city pier.
Murray, thank you very much. Zach, thanks for coming there. My question is, if I may, Zach, we are almost 2 months to the day until Operation Sail 2012, and I'm just curious, as some of my friends, that maybe the mayor's office is too distracted to devote the time and energy needed to make this as successful as Op Sail 2000. Thanks for taking my call, and I want to hear what you have to say.
Thanks for the call, and Zach will respond.
Absolutely, and I appreciate the concern. But I will assure you that everyone in the mayor's office, the mayor, myself, Tammy, and Jane, all work pretty much every day with something that has to do with Op Sail and Sailfest the following week. I have numerous conversations with John Johnson about Op Sail, making sure that that's the best event that it is, and we'll bring the spotlight to the city that will really show how great of a little city we are.
Thanks for calling you live with Zach. Hello.
Thank you, Murray. I would just like to comment, the previous two callers back, the lady was very articulate, and I have to agree with some of her current concerns on the personnel issues, which are conflicting our good city. I am assuming they will resolve themselves. I am making that assumption based upon my personal interactions as simply a nobody in New London, just a resident who has on several occasions reached out to the mayor, to Mr. Leavy, and to Ms. Doherty, asking questions and getting answers. And I've been tremendously impressed with their transparency and their due diligence. And while, like many New London residents early on in the mayor's tenancy, if you will, there were some kind of unusual things that caught our attention. However, it is my opinion, after speaking with the mayor personally on several occasions, that if he makes a decision that perhaps might not in the long run be the best one, he reverses it. And I respect that. That's the sign of character and intelligence. So my vote right now is to give our mayor and these talented people our support to resolve the issues that have plagued our city for quite some time, not to mention the issues of deferred public works maintenance, which Keith Chapman worked on so hard. My own family has owned and developed residential and commercial property in this city for many, many generations. I had the opportunity to live away for 30 years, from Hawaii to Alaska to Michigan to New York and Florida. And when I came back to this town in 2000, it occurred to me that I was coming home to the most beautiful deep water port with the greatest potential that anybody could ask for. And that I believe New London is right on the same plane with Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and quite probably will surpass Portsmouth as a destination.
Do you have a question for Zach?
No, my only question is, I hope that you folks can keep up your good work. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for the call. And I think many of us have a love for New London. There's a lot of good people in New London, Zach.
Absolutely.
But the fact of the matter is, we've been hearing that line of BS for 40 years. We're well situated. We got potential. The fact of the matter is, it hasn't happened. The only thing that's happened is our taxes is going to go up, and I want to get to that shortly. And everybody is for the mayor doing a good job, whoever that may be. But unfortunately, it seems like every decision that he's made is controversial, and somehow we get involved and with the major decisions in litigation. Speaking of litigation, there are at least 4 lawsuits presently. Are there any more in the pipeline? And do you have a total number of lawsuits that are presently on the docket?
I believe it's 4 or 5, and if I may address, I'd just like to say thank you to that caller. One of the things that the mayor's office and we're trying to instill in all of city government is, if someone calls, you treat them with respect, you treat them honestly, and you are transparent and give them the information. If they have a question on how we arrived at a decision, the mayor continually has an open door policy, regardless of the controversy you mentioned. And we try to talk to all citizens equally.
But Zach, there's no question the mayor is a great orator, and I respect his intelligence, but the decision-making process, it just seems like major decisions have there's not one that I can say I condone.
Well, that's
And
understandable.
I've been around a little bit.
That's understandable, and I actually want to address something you said, I believe, in your opening remarks, which is that he has not made any decisions for the betterment of New London. Every decision he has made has been for the betterment of this city.
Maybe in his opinion.
Maybe in many people's opinions, just maybe not yours, and we'll agree to disagree, and that's completely fine.
Well, why are so many ending in litigation? I mean, we're making these lawyers rich. And by the way, while it's on my mind, if one of the people that are suing the city, let's say, wins a sizable amount of money, is that covered by insurance?
We have a deductible that we have to pay, and then the rest, I believe, is paid through insurance.
Okay. Let's take another call, unless you have something else to say.
No?
Thanks for calling. You live with Zak Leavy. Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. I just have a comment or a question regarding op sale. I find it a little upsetting as a taxpayer in the city that they're still planning on going on with